It's the Odd Drunk Podcast, a very strange podcast. The drunkest show in the world. It's Jackson and Colton talking out of their ass. We don't care as long as drinks are poured. Sometimes we have our friends here. We will talk about anything. We don't care as long as we have beer. And if you let that whiskey ring. The Odd Drunk Podcast.
What I say now is if I kill someone in a game or something, not in real life, but if I kill someone in Minecraft, I'm like, you're Bones now. You're Bones. Is that guy Bones?
Yeah.
He's pretty much Bones. Anyways,
that if you don't explain that to someone, just say you're
I'm not
Bones.
going to explain it to anyone.
It can come off. There's a lot of ways to interpret that.
Yeah, it could come off as me insulting them for being giddy.
It mostly sounds like
it could be a sexual thing.
It mostly sounds like you're trying to be cool, but your mind is stuck in the 90s.
Hey, that's what I've always been. But I stopped trying to be cool.
Because you are cool,
I just
Jackson.
am.
Yeah. You don't have to try.
Welcome back to the Odd Drunk Podcast, everybody.
Yes.
We are recording dry, headphoneless.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like it.
It's like we're just talking to each other.
But I fucked up and I left the headphones
doesn't feel like,
at my apartment.
Doesn't feel like I'm doing a podcast. Yeah, sure, I'm talking into a mic, and I can hear myself because that's how the world works.
This is like a step back, back to our first episode when it was just a microphone plugged straight into a computer.
But we have two microphones plugged straight into a mixer, which is plugged straight into a computer.
Yeah.
So there's a couple more
stepping
levels
up in the world. Elon Musk,
but
here we come.
A bit of a step back. Yeah. Anyways, I'm really excited for today's episode. It's been a while since we've done one of these album reviews.
Yeah.
And I've been itching to do one for a while, and I thought, wait, what perfect time? Because a couple of albums I'm going to be talking about, well, you'll see in the description, they happen to be black artists, and it's Black History Month, so we thought we would take the time to recognize some black artists.
Yeah, it's just a good way to.
But really, I can promise you that these albums would have been included regardless of that. But
I chose two albums that were already kind of on my mind recently.
That's
one of these artists. My band has done covers of their stuff, and the other artist I recently discovered at an NPR Tiny Desk concert, which
today, well, before we get into the topic, we have a new segment in which we can both bring in some news or events, something that happened, something we want to just talk about, get off our chest, before we get into the episode and have to get tangent points for it.
Yeah.
Do you have anything? I have some things.
I found out several weeks late that David Crosby died.
I just found out now.
Okay. Congratulations for just finding out. He died last month, a few weeks ago.
Oh, jeez.
And I found out yesterday. No one was talking about this online.
Yeah, I found out right now as of recording the podcast.
I find that weird because David Crosby was pretty awesome. He had a really cool mustache. He died on the 17th, I think, of January. But I didn't know.
Oh, Crosby Stills and oh my God.
Yeah, David Crosby. Did you think I was talking about Bill Cosby?
No, I was thinking of someone related to Bing Crosby.
Oh. No, David Crosby from Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young.
Died at 81, January 18th.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's too bad.
I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah.
I guess because he's not mainstream enough, but whatever.
Yeah.
I have some stuff I want to... And this segment is really for stuff we want to talk about that doesn't necessarily demand an episode, or it's hard to segue into whatever episode we're on.
Yeah.
So this is just for anything goes. I got the new Dead Space remake.
Oh, yeah.
Been playing the hell out of it. And I only wait. Well, if it's daytime and I'm in the mood to play a bit, I try to block out all the light and make it dark. And
Nice.
got my
And this is on the PS5, is it?
Yeah, on the PS5. I got some 3D headphones, Bluetooth, and the sound design for the game's amazing. Terrifying. And yeah, it's got a nice new shiny coat of paint. You know, it's a complete from the ground up remake.
Yeah, I've heard
retexture it.
I've heard they did a really good job staying true to the original, but like changing things where stuff needed to be changed.
There's a lot of quality life changes. It plays more like your modern, like, well, not modern. It's a very old game too, but it plays like Dead Space 2.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
And yeah, it just feels more modern, less clunky, and it's just I think a faithful remake that just improves on the original. Nice. And there's been a couple bugs I've encountered, but nothing game-breaking. Sometimes objects will clip to my character, or a dead necromorph will cling on to me for a little bit. Kind of like in Dark Souls with the ragdolls. Yeah. It's a little bit like that sometimes. But it's as gruesome as ever. I mean, it's... when you're tearing apart the necromorphs, like, it shows every detail. Nice. And it's really satisfying, though, when you finally get them. And I love using the flamethrower. That's a lot of fun. And the saw gun. And I played Dead Space 1 around the era it came, not right when it came out, but a couple, 2-3 years later. Yeah. And then I went to Dead Space 2, but I played more of Dead Space 2, so a lot of, like, I'm in a section of Dead Space 1 I never got to when I was young. Yeah. And so now it feels brand new.
I've never played Dead Space. I think I own a copy of it. It's either Dead Space 1 or Dead Space 2. It's EA's launcher, Origin. They used to, I don't think they do it anymore. They used to, like, once a month give out a free game.
Now you have to have the EA Pass.
Yeah.
And you can get it as an extension with your Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah. And at one point they gave out one of I think it was Dead Space 1, but it might have been 2. I don't remember, for free. So nice. I have that on my Origin account. I've never downloaded it.
I'm not really into horror games, but it's one of those games that is just it's generational, like, big landmark game. Yeah. It the over the shoulder camera, and you know.
Oh well, if we get to in our video games in time series, if we get to that year.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
We'll have to play that.
And I also gave in because I had some extra money this paycheck. I don't have to tell you what, but or anything relating to my finances. You don't need to know.
Jackson
Colton doesn't need to know.
Only barely as wealthy as Elon Musk.
Oh wow!
But not quite.
That'd be really nice. Yeah. If I was just as barely as
wealthy as him. assuming
if I was 1%.
Assuming what I mean by that is how much cash Elon Musk actually carries on him at one time.
Oh, true. Yeah. Or do you think he wouldn't even carry cash? PayPal.
It's about how rich I am. I'm about as rich
I'm
as.
Sure I've carried more cash than he has.
Yeah, I'm about as rich as the amount of cash that a rich guy who doesn't carry cash on him is carrying right now.
But anyways, I also I gave in and I pre-ordered Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh,
and the pre-order allowed me to play it last night.
Nice.
So I've been playing it a little bit. I haven't gotten super deep into the game yet. It's a very for one, before I sound like I'm insulting it, because this isn't an insult. It's a very slow pace at first. Mm-hmm. You know, it slowly introduces you to all the different classes at Hogwarts, and you go to get the sorting hat, and it asks you some questions, and it recommends you your house, but you can pick any house.
Okay, cool.
That's not random. But as far as I know, the house doesn't really make any game changes.
That's what I've heard. Is
all it does is change your
it's pretty surface level
living quarters and your colors.
I mean, that's fine. I'm definitely
I'm a Ravenclaw.
Nice.
Play through.
I'm definitely going to get that game, but I am planning on getting the Steam Deck, and I'm waiting until I hear about performance on the Steam Deck before I purchase.
That's a good idea.
It is verified on the Steam Deck, but I've heard there are some performance issues on PC in general.
Yeah, I heard it's buggier on PC.
So maybe they'll get a day one patch and it'll be better. But
and the bugs I've encountered is mostly just minor graphical issues, just weird pop in every once in a while, and
generally the things I've
HDR.
The three things that I've heard about this game from reviewers is that the reviewers said the combat is really good.
Yeah, the combat's refreshing actually.
They said that the combat's good. I've heard it doesn't fall into, like, it's really light on the RPG element, so it doesn't fall into the RPG fatigue that a lot of open world games like that have.
No.
Like, I've heard it pretty effectively keeps your interest.
It's more of an open world action adventure game than anything, with RPG elements. Like,
and then the other thing I heard is that the open world itself is extremely immersive. I've heard people throwing around Rockstar, like comparing it to like Red Dead 2, like dense. Not quite on that Red Dead 2 level, but like
it's dense.
It's like
I've barely explored Hogwarts, and I've got to explore Hogsmeade, but the rest of the surrounding areas, I technically have access to, but I don't have a broomstick or a mount yet.
Yeah,
I haven't got to that point in the story. But I plan on riding around on a hippogriff.
Nice.
But
I'm gonna hope that they have like whatever the most ridiculous mount they have.
Like I looked at the map because I've only been in Hogwarts and Hogsmeade, and I've barely even explored Hogwarts, the structure. It's crazy how dense it is, and yeah, it's definitely derived, like the design is derived from the movies, but there's also a lot of stuff I've heard that takes more influence from the books, and it's in 1890s, so which doesn't make a huge difference visually because they're pretty much dressed like it's the 1890s always.
Yeah, the only difference was there will be
every once in a while there's a scene where they're flying in Ron's car, or they go to,
or some of the Ministry goons are wearing like 3-piece suits.
Yeah,
that's not very 1890s. That's
or like they cram into a telephone booth or whatever, or the night bus.
Yeah.
So you don't have that, but it's a lot of fun. It's a big world. It feels lived in, and it has its own little cast of characters and stuff, a lot that I hate and get annoyed by, but that's part of the Harry Potter experience.
Getting annoyed by
it. You go to classes, but it's a quest. It's not a simulator. It's not Persona or Bully where you have to go to class on time.
Right.
No, you can freely roam around, but you have to go to the class and unlock certain spells and abilities, and they'll progress the story. And I'm still in the point where it hasn't really opened up for me quite yet. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm just taking my time with it. I'm enjoying it. There's just so much to be seen. Like every room is just filled to the brim with details.
Yeah.
Stuff that references you'll get as a fan of the movies. I'm sure there's references if you've read the books. And, you have all the moving paintings and stuff, the ghost you encounter.
Yeah.
And it feels like the developers took the source material and ran with it, but in a good way.
Yeah. No, it's...
you can tell they actually care about the source material.
It looks pretty great, and I'm
now lore-wise,
probably going to play it.
I don't know much about Harry Potter lore-wise, and you Harry Potter fans out there, you can let us know. Like, if it does anything that breaks lore, or if it does things that just upsets you as a fan.
All I know is that
the main protagonist...
There's not a lot of lore that explores before, like, 1900.
Not a lot,
yeah,
as far as I know, but I'm sure there's some things that's going to piss somebody off,
Yeah, I know the headmaster in Hogwarts, like Phineas Black.
Yeah, he was the last
Simon Pegg, right?
Yeah, it's Simon Pegg.
He was already a character in canon. He was there's a scene in one of the movies where Dumbledore talks to his painting. Like,
and yeah, you're protagonist, so you don't play as a little child first year. No, you're a 5th year transfer.
Right.
You're a transfer student. So you know you have to deal with everybody doubting you, but then you're like, I nailed the combat systems.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean? You mean magic? And I'm like, no, I nailed this game's combat
yeah,
system.
you're like, no, I mean the little Batman Arkham signals above my head that pop up.
Yeah, I do my counterattacks. No, but it's... And so far, I only have a few spells. I have Incendio, I have Accio, I have Levioso, the one that lights stuff up, the...
Lumos,
yeah. I have... And you can use those spells in combination with each other in combat. And you also just have the basic trigger. It just sends out a blast of magic.
Just generic magic blast.
You do eventually unlock Crucio and like...
oh, yeah. I've heard you have to go on like... You have to go out of your way to unlock those because it's like you have to go through quests to get the...
But if you want to be a mass murderer and be worse than Voldemort...
What I've heard about the unforgivable curses in that is that they are like... They do a good job with like the quest to unlock them, like making them feel meaningful. But then after you unlock them, you can just blast people away with them as much as you like, and nobody says a damn thing.
I mean, there's a recharge, but yeah.
But like at no point if you cast like the killing curse after you've unlocked it, does someone go like, "Oh, that was the killing curse. What are you doing?"
No. It doesn't seem like that kind of world. Like, there's important NPCs, but most of the NPCs walking around, it's like a GTA where they're just kind of there for decoration to make the world feel more lived in. And I don't, that doesn't bother me or anything. But no, if you're a Harry Potter fan that also likes video games and you're looking for that definitive experience, this is definitely the one. And if you're not a Harry Potter fan, but you like these types of games, fantasy, open world, RPG elements, then I would recommend it. I think you'll enjoy it as well, even if you do not care about Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I would like to see this developer maybe step in and do like a loader game or something. I don't know, Lord of the Rings.
Ooh, that would be awesome.
Do like open world thing with that. But we'll see. Anyways, that's all I have.
Nice.
And we have another segment, the oldest segment of the show.
We're just running through segments.
Let's let Colton get to the segment. Let's let him do it.
Hey, Jackson.
Hey, Colton.
What are you drinking?
Oh, you know. The tears of my enemies.
Oh, shit.
No, I'm drinking
Tell me about that,
cookie porter right now. I got the porter pack from Breckenridge Brewery, owned by Anheuser-Busch, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
We found that out.
Yep.
Last episode, our beer episode. However, they still put out good stuff, and I can't pitch about it. But yeah, it comes with a raspberry vanilla porter, which I had the raspberry chocolate porter from Silver Moon Brewing. I would definitely recommend.
Yeah, that was delicious last week.
And it comes with a cookie porter, which I've just been drinking. Good. It's
what type of cookie would you say it is?
Shortbread. Shortbread cookie.
Nice.
And then peanut butter porter, and then they're just standard vanilla porter, which is one of my favorite beers to go to this time of year.
I'm drinking one of those peanut butter porters right now. It's pretty tasty.
It's definitely the time of year for stouts, porters, anything.
When it's cold outside and I'm just angry and sitting inside, just angry about the snow.
Yeah, and there's never a worse time of year, though, to pick up a porter or stout in the heat of the summer.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I don't know what
I've
done that.
Like Anchorman, where he's walking down the street, like, it's so hot. Milk was a bad idea.
Anyways, and I also got Plantation Rum's 20th anniversary edition.
Yeah, that's a pretty tasty rum. It's been a while since we've had any sort of plantation on here.
It has been, and yeah, it's got like the wrapping on it, or the rope, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's probably, it's $65, so I would hope so. It's their best rum.
Yeah.
if you want to spend that little extra money, and it's just good rum. It's strong. But it's very smooth. And I actually went to the liquor store looking for bamboo rum because that's like my go-to now. Actually,
they didn't
have any. They didn't have any of just the standard plantation.
Damn.
Or even plantation pineapple, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But they had this, and I was like, I've never bought this. I've had it.
Yeah,
when you got it.
Yeah, I had a bottle of it a while back.
But I was like, I want it for myself.
Yeah, it's a pretty good rum. I've got last thing here. I've got I think we've had this on another episode, maybe. I'm not sure if that episode's aired yet. I don't remember when we had it.
The timeline gets convoluted sometimes.
Yeah. But this is Aberfeldy Highland Single Malt Scotch, 12-year.
Nice.
From the Aberfeldy Distillery. I don't remember exactly where they're out of in Scotland. I know it's in the Highlands, obviously. Nice. And it's decent. I mean, I've been recently very into Scotch. I've been making my way through different bottles. Making my way downtown to drink all the Scotch. To acquire.
I would like to acquire your best liqueur. Your finest, yeah.
It's like at the liquor store I work at, when people come in and they'll buy the 99 liqueur shooters.
Oh,
they're like those flavored shooters. They're like 99 cents. They're
awful.
Terrible.
Yeah.
And I've had people come in and be like,
I
want the grape flavor. And then they'll be like, and just, whichever ones you think are good. And I'm like,
do you play along with it? Or?
Well, half the time I'll be like, I'll just grab random ones because I'll just whatever. But sometimes I'll be like,
I don't think any of them are good. Actually,
yeah, I'll reach over for like the bullet.
At least try to
the pint of bullet that we have and be like, this is good.
At least try to sell them something better and more expensive.
But either way, Aberfeldy Scotch,
I
it's good stuff.
Those 99 shooters I've seen numerous times in public restrooms.
Yeah, that's what people buy them for. That's what
they're for.
Yeah, people buy them for to get drunk fast.
Yeah,
because they are 99 proof.
Yep.
As well. Yeah, good branding though. 99 cents, 99 proof.
Cents, yeah.
Yeah.
It'll get you drunk.
It's
bad though. It's very, very bad. Yeah. I would not recommend it to anybody.
No, they're nasty.
It's sad too. It's a very sad drink.
But people love them. People buy a lot of them.
Well, there's a lot of sad people out there.
Yep.
Anyways, we are done with all that, and also I quickly want to introduce to any of the new listeners our tangent point system, which. Yeah, that's the whole reason we do like the bit of news in the beginning, so maybe we can avoid some tangent points now. So we can just get out of our system. Yeah, you get out of the system. But anyways, once we begin the topic and you go on a tangent that is not related to the topic, like if it's related somewhat or it comes naturally in the conversation.
Like if it makes sense to be talking about
we won't call each other out about that. Unless it goes too long.
Yeah.
Then we'll definitely call each other out. However, if it has nothing to do...
Because knowing us, we can go forever on really stupid things.
If you have been listening to us, you know that. But if it has nothing to do with anything, but you just really want to talk about it, you can do that, but it's going to cost you a tangent point. And you can get 3 tangent points in one episode. Once you get those, you have to take a shot, or you can veto it, but that means you have to take a shot right at the start of the next episode.
Yes.
And for continuity's sake, we're going to have to take one if we get the points.
Yeah,
we can't break.
We're not going to talk about it, but we can't.
We banked some stuff, but we don't want to break the continuity.
Don't worry about it.
We don't want you to come to the next episode and it's like, why didn't they take their shot?
Yeah, mm-hmm. We're not going to fuck with the sacred timeline.
Yeah, because we're not liars.
Yeah.
No, we maintain the sacred timeline about Drum Podcast, yeah. God drunk time.
I bet there's an alternate universe because like alternate universe you can just there's an infinite number of them where some of them are just like the smallest things are different.
Oh yeah.
I bet there's an alternate universe out there where the only difference is that 2 of our episodes swapped places in the timeline. I bet that's a thing.
In the whole universe, that's the only difference?
Yeah,
Us
yeah.
switching episodes.
Well, if there's infinite number of alternate universes, then theoretically there could be one out there where the only difference is that Dad Rock was our second episode and Hellboy was our first episode.
Wow, imagine that.
Yeah.
Just immediately coming off of this podcast angry. Just very, very angry and annoyed. And I like David Harbour. He was good in Violent Night and other things.
Yeah, not in that one, though.
No,
not in that.
No. Anyways. And yeah, we ought to do an episode on, like... That seems like a conspiracy theory thing, but it's something I do kind of believe in, like the multiverse.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely could be possible. Anyways, enough of that. So yeah, we're gonna start getting into this one. That's good, Ron.
Yeah, let's take a little sippy sip.
Oh yeah, and if at any point, because it's not drunk podcast, we still just drink whatever. Like if we just decided to take a shot.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to abide by
the
point system.
The tangent point does not mean
additional shot. Though.
Yeah, tangent point does not mean we are not allowed to take other shots.
Yeah,
if we feel like taking more shots, we can.
So yeah, we got just like our other album reviews, or most of them. Well, this one's slightly different because I wanted to pick just albums I've always wanted to talk about. Not necessarily, is it a new one and an old one?
Yeah, that's our typical formula we do.
Typically, that's what we do.
We each choose a newer, like from the last 5 to 10 years, and then one album that's been
as old as we like. It's been a long time since we've done our last album. In fact, it's been a year or so since we did our last album reviews.
Really?
Yeah, we did the last one around the same time last year.
Wow, that's...
it might have been in like March of last year.
I would have figured that we would have done one by then.
Yeah. But I picked 2 albums. Colton picked 2 albums. I have Remember My Song by, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, I looked it up, Labi Siffre in 1975. And I got a lot to say about that one. I'm sure Colton will too, because we listen to each other albums. And I also have this one I've been listening to a ton lately. And I was like, I got to talk about it. Vivid by Living Color. Absolute. If you want to just get a quick synopsis, absolute banger.
Yeah.
And that came out in 88.
Yeah. Because you texted me and said, hey, Black History Month, let's celebrate some black artists. And I immediately thought, very recently I discovered Denzel Curry. I mentioned at the beginning of the episode.
It's Melt My Eyes or something.
Melt My Eyes, See Your Future is his most recent album from last year.
I have a lot of good things to say about that one.
And I saw him maybe 6 months ago on a NPR Tiny Desk concert. Nice. It just came across my Facebook feed. I don't listen to a lot of rap and hip hop. I like it, but I don't. It's not. New artists don't often find their way onto my radar.
With rap and hip hop, I usually go more old school.
Yeah, so I don't. 90s. I'm not actively paying attention 90s. To like new artists. Just because it's not a genre that I'm actively always listening to. But Denzel Curry came across my feed on Facebook, and I was immediately impressed both by his rapping, and also he had a full band of like a horn section and all that when he was doing this thing.
We'll get into it definitely.
And I was like, damn, this guy's really good.
That album was very refreshing to listen to because it had a lot going on, not just with his raps, which we're going to talk about that album last, because what we do with these episodes, we'll go in chronological order.
Yeah.
When the albums were released. And you also picked another infamous album.
Yeah, I picked Bad Brains, self-titled, 1982. This has been on my mind recently as well.
Everyone knows the cover.
Yeah, well, the punk band I used to play in, we would cover Band in DC.
Nice.
On our set list. And recently I've been thinking about it. I've been listening to it because I kind of forgot about it for a while, and then Aaron over at the Whiskey Reel, I see him every once in a while in town, and he has a cool Bad Brains sweatshirt. Nice. And I saw him wearing it one day. I was like, oh shit, Bad Brains, I should listen to them again. So it's been on my mind recently.
Yeah, every once in a while something, well, I'll get into it, but like something will pop up and remind you of a great album, you know, and or a band. You're like, I'm gonna listen to them.
So,
but yeah, that's Bad Brains. I mean, one of the most influential punk bands of all time.
Yeah, I mean,
and
really good. They're like the Sex Pistols. If the Sex Pistols were actually like musically talented.
Yeah,
that's what they remind me of.
Still like the Sex Pistols.
Oh yeah, I love the Sex Pistols, but they're we're not going to get into the Sex Pistols tonight.
And so yeah, that's the albums we have, and it's a good mix of genres. We got a punk album, we got a soul funk album, hip hop, and just like alt metal.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into Living Colour.
Yeah.
Vernon Reid is one of my favorite guitarists like ever.
Is pretty rad. Yeah.
Pretty rad.
I had never sat down and actually listened to that album or anything like
but
that. But I've heard.
Everyone's heard the Cult of Personality.
Yeah, that's
whether they played Guitar Hero 3 or World Tour, it was definitely in one of those.
I think it was in World Tour because that's. I had Guitar Hero World Tour.
I forget which wrestler, but it was somebody's like wrestling intro. But anyways, we'll get into that. Anyways, since we're starting chronologically, we're gonna be starting with Labi, Siffre. Sorry. I hope
I was not at all familiar with this guy, and I wasn't sure how to pronounce that name.
Let me tell you a story before we get into the album. I was watching Better Call Saul one day, early spring-ish. And I was on season 5 finally, and we get to the episode where, well, I won't spoil too much about the show, but basically, he's stranded out in the New Mexican desert with Mike Ehrmantraut. Mm-hmm. It's a great episode. Yeah. Amazing episode. But that's all I'll say. I don't want to spoil too much because you should just watch that show. And it's definitely something. I think the whole Breaking Bad universe is something we have to talk about at some point.
Yeah. I need to watch Better Call Saul.
Yeah, you got to watch that first. But anyways, it starts playing this song with a really iconic bass line. And I'm like, is that Eminem? My Name Is? Mm-hmm. That's what he sampled it from. Oh. He sampled the bass line from Labi, Siffre, from I Got the...
Oh.
Huh. I Got the Blues. And because the song continued in the show, and I was like, wait, that's not Eminem. There's a guy singing. It's really nice, soulful. It's beautiful. It's really cool, funky. And then that's what introduced me into Labi.
Nice.
Otherwise, the only form I knew that bass line was from Eminem, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And went back, listened to that song. Amazing song, by the way.
Great song, yeah.
And then I was like, well, I'm just going to listen to the whole album. Because with Spotify, I can just search any album, pretty much. I mean...
Yeah,
which is one of the good things about it. I still like collecting vinyl, and that's something we'll talk about at some point. But, you know, I started listening to it, and I listened all the way through, and I was like, how did I ever not know? Like, I've heard I Got Them before, even besides Eminem, but I never knew who it was. And this album came out in 1975. It's one of our only 70s albums we talked about in a while.
Yeah.
I think the last one was Lou Reed, or was that the 60s?
Lou Reed, Transformer was
that the 70s?
I think.
But either way, it's, I think, one of the most underrated albums of that era.
It's really good. I mean, I put in my headphones. I was lying down in bed last night, and I was like, you know, you ever have those nights where you're like, I want to lie down, but I'm not ready to go to sleep yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I put in my headphones and listened to this album, and I was immediately like, holy crap, how come this guy is not bigger?
I mean, some of his stuff in this album straight sounds like something I would hear with George Harrison or something.
Yeah.
Or with Bob Dylan or any of the Traveling Wilburys.
I mean, the third song of the album, Down, is just like this beautiful like ballad.
It's
like
this ballad that just lingers. You know, it's
so good. I was just like, damn, that's a beautiful.
But like the opening track, banger.
That
definitely.
Is, yeah.
It's the one with the "My Name Is" bass line, and you actually hear it in the context of the original song.
Yeah,
because the song starts out with a completely different vibe. Basically, I mean, it's still funky, but it does a key change.
Yeah,
but no, it has this really cool like guitar riffing in the beginning. It's I got the blues, you know, that kind of thing. Other podcasts play copyrighted music. I'm looking at you, the Whiskey Reel, which, hey, check out their metal episode. I'll recommend that. Yeah. One. However,
all I'll say is they got
very brave.
They got some balls. Yeah.
Neither of our podcasts are behind a paywall, and we will always keep it for free. We might do extra stuff on Patreon, but the regular show is always going to be for free. Don't worry. But when it's not behind a paywall and it's just out in the open like that,
it's really easy to get copyright struck.
And unfortunately, somebody doesn't have to actually physically listen to it.
Algorithms will catch it. And it's difficult because maybe certain platforms, if you're picky about what platforms you're on, you can get away with it easier. But we got our stuff on all the platforms. We're on,
so we can't.
Most of our episodes make it on YouTube even, and YouTube will definitely catch that shit.
Which we're thinking about doing video podcasts at some point. But
that's a lot of work, though.
Well, I was gonna be like very simple, just like put an iPhone.
Yeah.
Be like, if you want to see us, you can see us.
iPhone's in the middle of the table, facing straight up.
It's a video of an iPhone filming us.
Yeah.
It's very meta. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't feel ballsy enough. Neither does Colton to play copyrighted music here.
Yeah, I wish we could.
I wish we could without any consequences, and it would be cool.
I don't want to get episodes taken down, though.
All the albums are in the description, and you could find it on, whatever Spotify, whatever you listen to us to, I'm sure you can find.
And we got a Spotify playlist that we do
that I forgot about.
Yeah,
I need to add to it.
We're gonna update it soon, but
yeah, we do have the Odd Drunk playlist, and it includes songs from our albums.
I think it's mostly songs from our album reviews. Yeah,
from the album reviews. Yeah. But anyways,
and All Star.
All Star. Yeah.
I don't know if that's on there. It should be on there, though.
It should be. It will be. I can do that right now. No, but yeah. Starting off with I Got the, man, I love it. Basically, does a drop.
Yeah,
because it goes from this cool kind of mid-tempo guitar riff. And there's a lot of orchestral stuff in the background, like ELO.
Yeah.
Which is, it's just a really fun album to listen to. There's a lot going on.
It's musically complex,
but it's a groove.
Still groovy and catchy.
Yeah.
Like,
there's just a lot going on with it. But then it does the drop into the bass line that we all know as My Name Is. And it changes vibes, but in a very satisfying way. And it's just like it starts out dun-dun, dun-dun, and it builds off of that, and it starts introducing more background instrumentals, and then he starts singing in very soulful voice, and it's just that album got me through some tough times with Spring Finals.
Yeah,
because that's when I discovered it. And,
I mean, this is going to be a regular album on my rotation.
I'm glad.
There's a couple albums you've introduced me to that are now of the cult. That's a regular thing on my rotation now that I had never listened to before, and this is going to be one too. I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's good stuff
because it's just really good vibes the entire time. Like not like it's at times it's relaxing, but it also like picks up right when it needs to pick up to keep you interested.
Aside from I got you mentioned Down. I'm going down.
Yeah, that's a beautiful song.
Another Year, I really like that one.
Yeah.
That one, and a lot of this album, and this isn't in a bad way, a lot of it reminds me of some of George Harrison's solo stuff.
It does a little bit, yeah.
Like in his debut album, All Things Must Pass, which is definitely one I want to talk about.
I mean, George Harrison got so much more into like soulful type of stuff than the other Beatles did.
And yeah, All Things Must Pass. That's another album I was contemplating. We'll do another one of these not too long. We're not going to wait.
Yeah, we definitely should do these on a more regular basis.
Yeah, because it's fun.
Every couple months we should do it. Sadie and the Devil. What?
I forget. That's got the saxophone.
Yeah, it's got saxophone. It's got like some acoustic guitar in it. I
like some of the acoustic tracks.
That's a really cool song.
The Vulture.
Oh yeah.
That's another just cool, groovy song.
This is definitely a vibes album. This is you put it on when you just want some like really good music.
And just honestly look up the Saul and Mike Lost in the Desert scene.
I will do that, yeah.
Mike is all prepared, dressed in like camo, and he has a sniper rifle, and he has combat boots. But then you have Saul, who just has dress shoes on, and he's wearing his t-shirt as like a do-rag, and just out in the desert, just struggling. But it's playing the song, and like as soon as it gets to the line, "The sun will shine." Mm-hmm. In the show, they have a shot of a rising sun along the desert.
Nice.
And it just the way they use that song along with the cinematography, it's just really cool.
Hell yeah.
But yeah,
really
cool funk soul album.
Really fucking great album.
That I never knew about Labi Siffre before, and I'm glad I know about him. After this album, or I think it might have been the next album, but he took a big break.
It was after this one. So I looked it up.
It was after this one. He became political activist, and he didn't release another album until like 86 or 7.
89.
89.
So what I read, it was between like 1971 and 1975, he released 5 albums, which is, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a work ethic there. And then he didn't release another album until 89 and released a few more albums throughout the 90s.
No, yeah, and he's done like TED Talks and stuff.
Yeah.
Which that's cool.
I mean,
and when when Eminem, Slim Shady or whatever he goes by now, when he asked about using that that line with the keys and the bass as a sample, Labi was like, well, I have to look through your the lyrics. And there was a rhyme in there that was derogatory towards gays.
Oh.
Use the F word. I'm not going to say it on this podcast.
Yeah, everyone knows you're talking about that.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, technically,
I don't think you have to say it.
In Old English vernacular, it's a bundle of sticks, but I'm still not going to say it. I don't.
It's not what it means now. Yeah,
no.
people throw that out there to defend their use of that word, and I'm like, shut up! You know what it means.
That's not what it means culturally.
Yeah,
we're not living in England.
No.
And I'm sure even there, it doesn't have the original meaning.
They do over there say when they want as a cigarette, they say, "Can I bum a fag?"
Yeah. But either way, I'm not gonna say.
Which throws Americans off.
He had a line that had something to do with that, and Labi was like, "I won't let you use my sample if you have anything that's attacking the LGBT community."
Yeah.
And Eminem was like, "Fair enough." He took it out of the song so he could get that sample.
I like that.
Yeah.
I really like this Labi guy so far. He's made some good music, and the few things I've heard about him outside of music is like.
And as far as the production go, there's actually quite a lot to go with this album. So yeah, Labi plays keys and acoustic on a few of the tracks. Sings obviously, but we have
also here's a cool picture of him with his goatee dyed orange, and I really like it.
I like it too.
I'm just like,
that's nice.
That's a bold choice, and I respect it.
Had the Rock and Roll Gypsies, they did all the strings. And it was produced by Big Jim Sullivan and Derek Lawrence. EMI Records. But yeah, it's an album I'm so glad I discovered. I'm so glad you like it. And,
yeah, I was just like, ooh. This shit's good.
I was like, I don't know how I've never heard any of this. And it's a great album of the 70s, and it very much encapsulates a lot of those sounds from the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah. I mean, every album we're talking about today, we would recommend, definitely.
Yeah, I think there's what I'm learning from listening to albums like this and paying attention to radio, to like what I'm actually listening to, like at work and stuff like that. Yeah. When we think back in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, everyone has their ideas of like quintessential songs and stuff from those eras. But those eras were really, really diverse in their music.
Oh, yeah.
Really diverse,
Well, yeah, I mean, like the 80s wasn't just a Billy Idol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the 70s wasn't just Rolling Stones and John Lennon and Led Zeppelin. It was also Labi Siffre, and Lou Reed and all those bands.
No, yeah, that's what's great.
Yeah,
yeah, there's a lot, and even now, there's a lot of music to be found, and it will be interesting, looking into the future, seeing how people describe. The 10s and 20s music.
Well, you look all the way only back into like the 2000s.
The 2000s.
And if you mention 2000s music, it's like Fergie and Blink 182,
Backstreet Boys.
Nickelback. Crump style, like dance and music and stuff like that. Like, if you know what I'm talking about.
But actually, there's a lot more than that.
But there's a lot more than that. There's a lot of Old Crow Medicine Show. Their first album came out in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Or their first, I think. I don't remember. But, there's more than... Music's diverse.
There's a lot than what you would think an era is defined by.
Yeah, and this album is fucking great. I really liked it.
Anyways, great album, nice funk soul album, and it's just that's an album I like turning on when just to chill me out, get me in a good mood, and get me going at the same time. And yeah, I remember listening to it. I got a hell of a lot when I discovered it. Because, I think everyone has always liked that bass line from My Name Is. That's probably one of the best parts of that song. That's what defines it. But it's actually hearing in its original context makes it all that much better. Like,
yeah.
But anyways, that's all I really got to say about that one.
So the next album on our timeline is Bad Brains, 1982
debut album. The iconic lightning bolt hitting the Capitol. Everyone's seen this.
Yeah, everyone's seen the album. Yeah, it's if you listen to punk rock,
I think a lot of people wear shirts with this album cover and don't really listen to the Bad Brains.
I see I see this album cover everywhere. But if you pull up like punk rock playlists on Spotify, the curated ones, Bad Brains is never on there.
Yeah, that's the weird anomaly. You see a lot of you see Bad Brains stuff.
Yeah, but I don't actually see them on playlists and CDs and things like that very often.
And let me tell you, this is definitely one of my favorite punk albums. And bands like Sublime have so much to thank for.
They owe so much to. Yeah. I mean, Bad Brains is important for a couple reasons. For one, they really pioneered the combining punk with reggae.
Yes,
not
just ska though.
Yeah, combining punk with ska, that's a different thing. But like with reggae, though,
this album has, of course, plenty of straight up just punk songs. And let me look at the list.
It's mostly like punk until about halfway through. Leaving Babylon, I think, is the first song on the album that
goes
reggae, and it's a cool song too.
And they straight up just go reggae. It's not ska, it's not reggae, but then it transitions into a heavy thing.
No, it's just a reggae song. It's got a punk attitude to it, but it's pure reggae though.
Yeah.
And
reggae with a punk filter.
Yeah, and like you said, bands like Sublime, who are kind of known for being like reggae with a little bit of a punk attitude to it.
Yeah.
Like they owe Bad Brains.
No, I straight up, when I was listening to this album again, I was like, Sublime did the same exact thing 10 years later.
Yeah.
And got way more credit for it.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I love Sublime, but
oh yeah, of course.
But Bad Brains killed it, and even their punk stuff too is like their pure punk rock stuff is, like I said earlier, it's like Sex Pistols if Sex Pistols was musically talented. Like it's got that same attitude and vibe as like that like 80s, 70s 80s punk rock, but like,
and this is the original
actually has like really good like instrumentation and like composition. So
just on the Wikipedia article, it says many notable bands and artists cite Bad Brains as musically influential to their music, including the Beastie Boys, Nirvana, Foo Fighters, Guns N' Roses, Soundgarden and the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Jane's Addiction, Faith No More, Rage Against the Machine, it just goes on.
All pretty great bands, except Guns N' Roses.
Living Colour.
Yeah.
Which is one
that's
shortly
coming up next.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Bad Brains and that. Was there, because you know more about like punk and like the different sounds and regions.
Well, yeah,
was the Bad Brains, were they indicative of the DC sound?
They were, and the other thing with them is that they're really influential in the straight edge punk movement. Which the straight edge punk movement started with Minor Threat, really. That's where the term straight edge comes from. Mm-hmm. But Bad Brains, and in DC there was this whole like movement of like there was the straight edge punk scene, and then there's the counter movement to the straight edge punk scene, bent edge, which is super fucked up in my opinion. It's the idea of like straight edge is so controlling and restrictive that let's do the complete opposite and just get completely fucked. And I think that's. I don't like that. I'm not straight edge, but I don't. But Bad Brains is really influential in that scene as well. But like I said, they're like the Sex Pistols, that hardcore punk scene of the '80s. They're pretty much like among
this album.
They're among the first.
This came out in '82.
'82, yeah.
But they were a band way before this in the '70s.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about the Clash and Sex Pistols as being the founders of punk, but people don't realize that this was happening. And because when you look at really like if you talk about the history of punk rock, people often point to basically the British scene first. And then it was in the and it was in the mid '80s and the '90s that the American scene, like all those like really well known bands came around.
I mean, that's
like
when the
like
American scene...
like in the '80s, like NoFX and Descendants and those
Bad
bands.
Religion.
But really though, punk was forming at the same time in America.
Yeah,
because you look at proto punk,
all
the big proto punk bands, those were American bands, the Stooges. It
didn't hit the American cultural. Well, I think every punk would agree that they wouldn't want their favorite band to reach the mainstream.
Yeah.
But the punk mainstream,
the cultural zeitgeist.
The cultural zeitgeist, yeah. That quite didn't happen until the late 80s, early 90s in America.
Yeah.
For American
but
bands.
It was still around because you look at like proto-punk bands, everyone points to American musicians.
Yeah.
Lou Reed and Iggy Pop and
definitely.
And guys like that are considered like proto-Blondie,
We did Blondie for sure.
These proto-punk bands, they're all American. So but then you look at the history of punk, they go, proto-punk bands, New York scene, CBGB, all that. And then you jump over to the UK and the Clash and Sex Pistols and these bands got big, and then the 80s and the 90s you had NoFX and Black Flag and these bands. But in reality, no. I mean, Black Flag is also had been around a lot longer than people realized they had been.
So is Bad Religion.
Yeah, and
around since 82, 83.
Yeah, but Bad Brains is I place them as like one of the founding punk bands basically in American punk. Like they are huge in the sense of like the history of punk rock in the United States.
Bad Brains are huge.
Yeah. And also Band in DC is a fucking banger of a song.
Yes. I want to talk about some of these tracks. Band in DC is a banger. The Regulator, even though it's like only 50 seconds or a minute, I really enjoy the intro bass line on that one. And then we get into the reggae section with Leaving Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really good... This album has really good like pacing to it.
It does, yeah. That's an important issue with punk rock in general. A
lot of times in punk rock it's just all fast, heavy songs. You never get a breather. This gives you plenty of breathers, and then as soon as you get back, like Right Brigade, Pay to Come.
Yeah.
There's but it gives you this little reggae break, and it just makes the album feel fuller, more in depth.
Yeah.
But yeah, this album's just really good to just jam to. Honestly.
It's just a good punk rock album. Yeah. Like if you like punk rock, like if you're interested in punk rock, but you've not dived into like the not super mainstream.
I'm not gonna do that. We just talked about that. I forgot I was connected.
But if you're interested in punk rock, but you've not really dived into like the less mainstream bands, say you're really into like the '90s grunge movement. You like Nirvana, you like Alice in Chains, these bands, and you're interested in seeing like some punk rock stuff that kind of like influenced that movement.
I wish I could play this song.
Would say
Fearless Vampire Killers.
Oh, dude, yeah.
The intro to that song is just gnarly. I love it.
That's a great one, yeah.
So yeah, we have the original lineup. We have Dr. No on lead guitar.
Legendary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Daryl Jennifer on bass. And HR on vocals. The original vocalist died in he was only with the band from 77 to 78. Sid McRae. Yeah. Died in 2020.
Yeah, I remember when that happened, yeah.
And Earl Hudson on drums.
Yeah.
And HR on vocals. Bad Brains. I mean, they're the Bad Brains.
Yeah. There's also I have to also point out there is a Band in DC. There is a live version of it. Let me see if I can pull up which
So on Wikipedia it says, I didn't know. Wow. Originally a jazz fusion band under the name Mind Power, Bad Brains are widely regarded as pioneers of hardcore punk.
Yeah.
Although the band's members have objected to this use of the term to describe their music. Also an adept reggae band with later recordings featuring elements of other genres such as no wave, funk, heavy metal, hip hop, and soul. Now I haven't listened to a lot of their albums, only really their early stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to... I don't remember what version of it, but there's a live version of Band in DC that's really, really fucking good. It's a little bit slower than the studio version. And I remember when my band, when we played that, we went off of the live version. We played that version of it.
Your band. I forget your name.
The Molly Nixons.
Molly Nixons. Yeah. I knew Nixon. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But we did the live version of Band in DC.
Nice.
When we learned it. It's a really fucking good. That is just, if any, honestly, I would place this. That's one of my favorite punk songs of all time, and I would just place this album at the top of the list of punk albums just for that one song.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but the rest of the album's really good too, luckily. But that song I is fucking awesome. It's a banger.
So next, we have a real big one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I enjoyed this next one.
Vivid.
Yeah.
By Living Colour, 1988. This album, holy shit, like, just came out of nowhere with this.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have the opening track, Cult of Personality. We're going to speak right down the earth in a language that everybody can easily understand.
Yeah, huge song that everyone's heard.
Yes, and still a good song, though. It's I play along to it on my guitar. I'll put on my distortion and delay effects.
Nice.
Even though a lot of that song is incredibly difficult with the rhythm and syncopation.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of which, I mean, this band is just on fire. Vernon Reid on guitar. The solo and Cult Personality, and there's some other songs like Middleman. I love that one. That's a cool riff. I Want to Know. But, there's a solo... Desperate People.
Yeah.
Not that one.
No, it's...
Memories.
Memories Can't Wait.
Memories Can Wait, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, Vernon Reid, whenever I listen to this album, especially if I'm jamming it in the car where I can play it pretty loud or I'm on my headphones, whenever I hear one of his solos, this is the face I make. Which is a good thing.
What I appreciate about his playing is so
you guys can see that it's gnarly, just like
he's gnarly. But here's another thing that he does really well. A lot of kind of like metal rock guitarists hog the spotlight a little bit too much in their solos. He's doing his actual solos and he's throwing in cool riffs. But he's doing it in a way where it vibes and grooves with the rest of the band really well.
Well, and like the solo,
and that's so important.
So the solo on Cult Personality, apparently, during recording, he had tried coming up with a solo, like he was on the 25th take or something like that, and he just was having a really hard time, not just making it fit, but making it interesting. Making it fun, making it where he could do it the same time every time, every play. And then eventually the producer was just like, just fucking let it rip on this one. Just go crazy. And he did. That's the solo that's in the album.
Nice.
The solo you hear in the album was done in the first take.
Oh, that's cool.
And his use of like jazz influence and
Well, yeah,
with
that's the other thing that
but he did end up having a hard time doing it the same.
Yeah, well,
he did it
that's the thing that I noticed about this album in general is that it's kind of like rock, like early metal type of.
Well, it's a funk metal,
but it clearly has other influences in there. It's not it strikes me as an album where they're not trying too hard to be one thing.
No, they're really just being themselves.
Yeah. And that and you can hear it in
the production of this album is just amazing. The drums are incredibly crisp and percussive as they should be. The bass slaps, the guitar shreds, and the vocals. So yeah, we have Corey Glover on vocals, Vernon Reed on guitar, Muzz Skillings on bass. He's not playing with him anymore. Will Calhoun on drums, and holy shit, just it's got a lot of vibes of other bands I've heard, but they put such a unique flavor in there with the funk and with the jazz influences. It's just very pleasing my ears. It's the kind of it's of that era. There's a lot of it that reminds me of Faith No More or Jane's Addiction, a little bit the Cult in there. Yeah, they take all that kind of stuff and they're like, let's throw funk and jazz in that. And let's make it interesting.
Let's get jazzy.
Let's make it
and I'll tell you what,
improvisational.
I'll tell you what, throwing in a little bit of jazz into some music is never a bad idea.
And apparently, I did not know this, Mick Jagger produced tracks 9 and 11.
Oh.
He and that's Glamour Boys and Which Way to America. And Which Way to America is definitely one of my favorite.
That's a good one. Yeah.
So ballsy with let's release the coolest fucking hard rock song of the 80s as our opener to the album. One of the coolest rock songs I've ever heard, Cold of Personality. That's the opener. And then let's also end this album with one of the funkiest, coolest,
Which Way to America songs. Is one of my favorite on the album. That's
just
also, and I don't know. I'm listening to this on YouTube Music, so sometimes there's extra songs depending on what
the version. I'm listening to the.
I don't know if on your version they had their cover of Should I Stay or Should I Go, but I liked it.
Oh, my version didn't have that.
There's a cover,
I have heard it.
On mine is a listed version of Should I Stay or Should I Go. There's cover of The Clash, and I dug it. I was digging it. It was cool.
And all these tracks have a unique voice to them. I Want to Know.
Oh yeah.
It has this guitar riff that kind of slide, just kind of the modular variations, just it's everything's interesting here. None of the riffs sound like I've heard them before, and Living Color did it first, and Middleman, that's another great one, and then they have Open Letter to a Landlord. That song is it addresses a very crucial issue, still a very important issue to be talked about today.
Yeah,
the gentrification of America.
Yeah,
of cities. It basically just talks about how all these companies, corporations, or real estate owners will perform demolition and just destroy these old buildings. They have a lot of history to them.
I appreciate when they tackle subject matters like that, because you hear a lot of punk and metal and rock bands. They try to be fuck the man, but they don't get too specific.
But this one's very specific.
But I like that they're just landlords.
Yeah. And just
fuck landlords in particular.
Poor communities of their homes so you can build your new stadium. in Brooklyn or wherever.
Yeah.
And just like, instead of actually putting that money into renovating these places, no, we just demolish them and we build our Starbucks there or whatever.
That's
and that song.
It's a big thing. I mean,
definitely has some cool riffs.
You mentioned the stadium bit. That's a big thing. I'm a big Dodgers fan.
Oh yeah.
That's I mean, just if you're listening to this, go look up Chavez Ravine. I'm a big Dodger fan, but it's kind of a fucked up thing that the Dodgers organization did back when they built the Dodger Stadium.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like NFL and
they basically got the city to evict an entire neighborhood of people and demolished it and built Dodger Stadium.
Yep.
And it was all poor Mexican working class people.
Way too often. And yeah, that song
there's people that want the Dodgers to like work on paying reparations for that, and I agree with that. I think they should.
Yeah.
They should do
and
something.
Also another song that gets a little that definitely gets political, definitely gets a little controversial. Funny Vibe, which
that was a cool song.
I love it. But it talks about, it's like I'm not gonna rape you. I'm not. It basically just like how it addresses like racial stop and frisking. Assuming just a random black guy or a minority on the street is a criminal, and that unfortunately that's something that isn't ingrained into our system, and it's fucked up and it's dumb.
Yeah, that was definitely Funny Vibe is one on the list of songs I kind of noted as I'm like, this is a cool song.
I didn't know this. I have to listen to the original one. Memories Can't Wait.
Yeah.
That's apparently a Talking Heads cover.
Oh.
I'm going to have to listen to that now. I did not know that listening to this album. But I mean, Cult of Personality, that song, I mean, yeah, it was their biggest hit and everything. Huge. Yeah. Guitar Hero and everything. And me and my girlfriend were watching
Memories Can't Wait.
We were watching
Talking
the last
Heads.
season of
Although the Living Color version is the first song that comes up if you Google it, or if you search it on YouTube Music.
I don't know. We'll have to listen. But yeah, the bass line in that's just insane. I love it.
Yeah.
You can hear every instrument in this album just so clearly and precisely. Like it's just so precise. Like that bass.
Yeah. I love
like in Which Way to America.
I really love the bass lines in this album.
But yeah, like there was a track in this album. Where was it? I forgot what I was talking about, to be honest. But
I'm a few drinks in already. I'm getting a little.
I listened recently. They played with Steve Vai on Cult of Personality.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
He plays with Vernon Reid, and it's just amazing, and the solos are just crazy. But yeah, every Vernon Reid solo, amazing. But it's just like I always make that kind of face where I'm like, whoa, like I'm like,
yeah. Well, again, like I said,
like gnarly.
One thing I was really impressed with was not only that like. It was gnarly fucking solos and licks and stuff, but like he managed to do all of that, but still the entire time he's vibing with the band.
Yeah.
He's really grooving.
Cohesion there.
And that's really difficult to do as a lead guitarist who's like throwing out licks and stuff like that sometimes. To keep it just kind of subdued enough where it doesn't overshadow the rest of the band.
Like Cult of Personality, they have a lot of quotes there from like Kennedy, Franklin Roosevelt, and
that's not what your country can do for you. And then guitar solo.
It goes crazy. But like I love one of my favorite lines in that song because it's so poignant. It's just so fucking real. When a leader speaks, that leader dies. And in the music video, it shows Martin Luther King. And it's like, basically, as soon as you actually speak out against injustices,
you know what I was.
you have a target on your back.
I saw a video of Martin Luther King. This was like right before just a little bit before he died. He was making a speech basically about like affordable housing.
Wow.
Which was crazy because, first of all, that's a thing. And he was talking about gentrification of affordable housing because that's a thing that they talk about in this.
Yep.
And it's a thing that we still talk about now.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, holy shit.
It's like, and listening to this album, I love the music and the instrumentation. And it's just heavy and funky and just shreds, just very sick, very cool. But the lyrics, I was like, this is all still relevant now.
Yeah.
And this came out in 88.
Whether you think that's prophetic or sad,
it's the same conversations we need to be having now.
We do, yeah. No, it's really, this is a great album. Yeah. I will admit, out of the two albums that you brought up, I did prefer the other one.
Oh, Remember My Song?
Remember My Song is one that's definitely going to be on my rotation. This one is more like some of these songs might be on my rotation. Like I might put them on some playlists.
Yeah. Which songs were standouts for you then?
Well, definitely Cult of Personality. Definitely Funny Vibe. Hold on. I liked obviously Which Way to America. I liked Memories Can't Wait. I liked Glamour Boys. I thought that was pretty cool.
Nice.
I thought Middleman was pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
very cool. Yeah,
definitely great album. I liked it.
No, I've been listening just to the album.
I think it's
in its entirety.
It's more like sometimes an album. Someone recommends an album where I'm like, how has this album not come across my path before? And sometimes someone recommends an album, and it makes me go, how come I was not more aware of this band in general?
Well, my dad...
And I think this is one of those where, like, maybe this is not going to be a regular... This specific album won't be a regular rotation for me, but this band will now.
Yeah.
Because they were not... other than Cult of Personality, they were not on my radar. Like, at all.
And with Living Color, I mean, Cold Personality is one I've known and heard for a long time because of Guitar Hero and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I heard it, they played that song in one of the last Walking Dead episodes before the finale.
Oh.
Like, they played it in the show, like, in universe, somebody hooked that song up to a radio.
Nice.
And I was like, that's cool.
Vivid Color, you're living into the apocalypse.
That reminded me of, I was like, I need to check that song out, check this album out. And for, like, the 80s, for late 80s, one of the most... I know they were still pretty, like, they were big when they came out, but still pretty underrated compared to a lot of bands from that era.
Yeah.
And,
they had some success, but it was limited success, though. Like...
not as much as they deserve.
Yeah. No, I'm really impressed. I think it makes me want to go listen to their other albums.
Like Vernon Reid.
What it is. Yeah. No, yeah.
Holy shit.
This makes me just want to go check out their other albums.
Yeah.
See, this has piqued my curiosity, and now I want to see what else they have up their sleeve, or had.
Right.
I think they're still active. I don't know if they're still
recording.
No,
yeah, they're still
though.
Playing. Yeah. Their most recent album, I think, came out in like I think they did something in like 2017.
Oh, that's pretty recent. Recent enough that you wouldn't be able to say that they're inactive.
No, they're not inactive. They still tour, play festivals and stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, that album is just so ahead of its time too.
That's yeah.
I always, for some reason,
it doesn't feel like an 80s album.
I always thought it was a 90s album.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's close to that era, but not quite. It came out in 88. And I always assumed it probably came out in like 94 or something. But no. Came out in 88.
Do you want some of this scotch? I'll trade you a little scotch for a little rum.
Ooh, scotch for rum? But we don't have any tangent points. We're just doing this for fun?
No, I'm offering you some scotch, and I would like some rum.
Fair enough. There's a helping of rum.
And there is a helping of scotch.
Nice.
Pretty fair. Both of these bottles are in the $50 to $60 range, where yours is a little more, but...
Yeah, and I'm like in the 60% capacity range
in
my bottle.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to just blow through it.
I have been very good about not blowing through expensive bottles. I've had this bottle in my room for about a month now, and it's still about a quarter of the bottle left.
That's scotch. That's scotch.
It is scotch. It's a pretty good one.
If I ever had one, it is.
I am not so well versed in scotch that to say if this is like a really good one or not for the price, but I enjoy it. And I'm still learning about scotches, so maybe next time I feature scotch on an episode, I'll have a different one. Oh, dude, that rum is so fucking good.
Here's some of Vernon Reed's influences.
Ooh.
Miles Davis, James Brown, Jimi Hendrix, Robert Fripp, John Coltrane, which I thought about doing Spiral, that album.
Yeah. The another album
I think we should do a whole jazz episode.
So what one out the album you texted to me that I went and listened to and then you changed your mind on was Herbie Hancock.
Yeah, and what's it? Headhunters. Yeah,
Herbie fucking Hancock. Rad album. I mean, I know it's not one of the ones we're talking about, but I do want to say that was
Herbie
cool.
Hancock, Headhunters. I don't know if he'll be on an episode. Maybe he will. Maybe we'll do a jazz episode.
I would love to do a jazz episode.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I thought about him, and I also thought about Tribe Called Quest, Low End Theory. But I wanted to spread out and do some different genres.
There is
different eras.
One of my favorite albums of all time, which I didn't include on this because I felt it would be a little on the nose for us, what we typically talk to, which is saying a lot because I chose a punk album. But I was gonna bring up Travelin', John Lee Hooker.
Oh, yeah?
Which is a fantastic blues album. Really, really good.
I'll check that out. John Lee Hooker, I mean...
I don't know why I was worried about it being too on the nose for what we normally talk about, because you chose Living Colour, and I chose Bad Brains.
He also cites Frank Zappa, which there's a couple of his albums I've always wanted to talk about. Apostrophe, definitely.
I love Zappa.
Jeff Beck, rest in peace, Jeff Beck. He passed away this year. Last month.
Right.
And just go listen to Scatterbrain. Go watch
Great.
the version, the live version of Scatterbrain, and you'll see why he was one of the greatest guitarists to ever walk on the earth. Like, seriously, Jeff Beck was amazing. And yeah, I just want to give some credit to him since he was mentioned. He also cites Carlos Santana. I mean, yeah, Jimmy Page, Van Halen, and Dr. No from the Bad Brains.
Fuck yeah.
His influences.
You know what I'll say is that entire list is all artists.
Yeah, some of the solos in the Bad Brains, I was like, holy shit.
It's
Dr. No.
Well, that's again what I mentioned is Bad Brains are like Sex Pistols if they actually had musical talent.
Yeah.
Like they got that vibe of like that hardcore punk, but like they actually have they strike me as good. I mean, Sex Pistols were not good musicians. I mean, of course, Sid Vicious is notorious.
Yeah.
Johnny Rotten, though, like, so Sid Vicious, when they were recording their one and only album, never mind the Bollocks, which is a great album. It really actually is. But when they were recording that, I guess so.
Wait, is that their only album?
Yeah, they never did another album.
What?
And I have that one on vinyl, and I have the version I have is a marketing do not sell version. Yeah, it's so Sid Vicious playing Sid Vicious was bass, right? Yeah, so he's playing bass, and he apparently just like sucked really bad. And then what happened is he got sick while they were recording the album. I don't remember if it was like pneumonia or something like that. He got sick, so he couldn't show up to the studio. So they took advantage of that, and Johnny Rotten played a bunch of bass lines on a bunch of the songs. because they were sick of dealing with Sid Vicious sucking and having to do a million takes. So the moment he got sick and couldn't show up, they were like, all right, Johnny, jump on bass. Let's get this shit done.
Yeah.
Like,
and then they got it done.
Yeah, and then they got it done. So I don't know what songs they are, but there are certain songs on Nevermind the Bollocks that Sid Vicious does not play on. Even though he's credited, he doesn't actually. It's Johnny Rotten.
But he's credited.
He's credited because he was the bassist.
Yeah.
But didn't
actually record those parts.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So far we have Remember My Song, Labi, Siffre. We have Bad Brains, and we have Vivid by the Living Color. A very great and we're doing this in honor of Black History Month by featuring Black artists, but I want to reassure you that these are all albums that we enjoy, that we've listened to, that we would have been I was thinking about including both my albums just for a normal album review episode.
Yeah.
In fact, this is going to be still a normal album. We're not going to be like, oh, album reviews part 2.
We're just like,
and then the Black History version.
Like we're just like, let's do an album review, and why not?
Yeah.
In honor of Black History Month,
but it's not going to be
point out some excellence of black musicians.
Yes, but it's not a separate series.
Because here's what I'll say is Black American music. I don't think any group of people in the United States has contributed more to the American music zeitgeist than Black Americans. No group of people have rock. Every
jazz. Is the classical American music.
Every genre of American music you can think of has been pioneered by Black Americans.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Rock and roll.
There's no denying.
Blues, jazz, even country. If you go back far enough, there is a tradition of Black country music.
Yeah.
And it's back far enough back that I think, and so much of country, modern Nashville country takes so much from Hank Williams, and you know what Hank Williams was taking from? Rhythm and blues.
Of course.
Of course he was, because who wasn't?
Yeah, everybody was.
So I really, it's important to because Black musicians don't get credit often. So it's important to, and I know we're just a couple white guys sitting in a bedroom recording a podcast and nobody actually in a studio recording a podcast.
Hey, I have sound foam.
It's more colorful than my sound foam. I'll give you that.
Red and black.
It's good to for.
But this episode
anyone
in honor of Black History, but it's not going to be titled that way. You can already see that. It's just part of our regular album review series because these are albums I always want to talk about.
Well, I said, as soon as you texted me with that idea, said, "Hey, let's do this for Black History Month," I remember I texted you back let me think about it. What albums? But that was me more saying I was at work, so I was I don't have time to think right now.
Yeah.
But I pretty much immediately knew what I was choosing because these were albums that were already on my mind.
And
these were albums I possibly would have. This next album I probably was going to choose anyway.
Nice,
because it's really good.
No, I was definitely going to choose Vivid, and back when I started listening to Remember My Song, I was like, man, I would love to talk about this on album reviews. And we just had a lot going on. We never got to another album reviews, and we are now.
It's been a good year on the podcast of doing cool, unique episodes. We did better than the year before.
Yeah.
On not relying too much on commentaries and pop culture stuff.
Even though we have plenty of commentaries lined up.
Plenty of that. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, we're trying to keep it interesting, keep it real.
But I really love these album reviews.
Album reviews, I want to do these fairly often.
It's a big part of listening to music is a big part of both of our lives.
Yeah,
and the opportunity to sit down and be and not only talk about albums that we've been listening to, but share albums with each other.
Well, yeah, and the albums
is very fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, and I hope people, actually listen to these albums, especially ones I'd never heard before. Like, I always use this as an opportunity. Like, usually when we do our album reviews, when we do a new and old song, I try to use it as an opportunity to introduce something maybe not a lot of people have heard.
Yep.
Or, a band that's a little underrated. And, like, there's some bands I've been thinking about that are definitely underrated but very good that I think people need to know about. So, like, we'll probably do more album reviews pretty soon. And also, I've been yearning to talk about Weezer's Seasons albums, because now that's finished.
I mean, we'll get around to that.
So maybe next time.
I mean, we can definitely... Here's what I'll say is there's no reason we can't do a music-related episode that's not an album
Let's
review.
just do a Weezer episode.
We could totally just do a Weezer episode. I'm sure me and you could talk about Weezer for an hour and a half straight, at least.
Anyways, let's get on to the final album of this episode.
From 2022, just this last year.
Yeah, you picked a new one. You were a good boy.
Melt My Eye. Well, I mean...
you wanted to do... Yeah.
I legitimately have been listening to this album. Melt My Eyes, See Your Future by Denzel Curry. Which is way out of character for me. Because this is a hip-hop
I don't care. I mean, this
album and
is,
I don't listen to hip-hop stuff a whole lot.
I was listening to this album earlier today, and I'm not going to lie, I kind of expected the norm for rap and hip-hop albums that are coming out now. A lot of autotune, a lot of mumble rap. But this has some autotune, but no mumble rap. So
no mumble rap, and the autotune is pretty tastefully used.
No,
well, T-Pain is on one of the songs.
Yeah, and he's autotuned.
So of course. But side tangent, T-Pain was on the Masked Singer, that show.
Oh, really?
He has an amazing voice.
It's like, why are you using autotune?
He has a beautiful singing voice. I didn't expect that, but either way, anyway.
This album, before you get into it, because it was your pick and you probably know more about it, but I mean, from me listening to it, one of the most refreshing hip-hop albums I've heard in a long time. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Not only like the raps and the rhyme, they had a good flow and very just interesting lyrics. There's a lot of nerdy lyrics in this, which I really
He references like Naruto. And stuff like
Naruto. That. He references Black Panther. He references Star Wars. He references.
Well, apparently Denzel Curry
There's a King Ghidorah line in there.
He's apparently a really big nerd,
which is great.
Like he watches anime and stuff in his spare time.
And also musically, there's way more going on.
That's what
album.
Drew it to me initially. It was like, this is musically interesting.
There's so much more going on. So like with a rap album. Yeah, you want a decent backing track, but really what you really care is if the rap is good or not, and if it flows well, and if it's not just mumble rap, because I hate that.
And he does flow well.
If it's just auto-tune the whole time, because that's like nails on a chalkboard for me. I'm serious.
A little bit of auto-tune, tastefully used here and there.
It's used in a musical, in a tasteful way, where I'm like, that's how auto-tune should be utilized.
Yeah.
Instead of just using auto-tune the whole time... use it in an interesting way, and he does that. And there's just so much going on. Just the backing tracks alone, and the backing vocals, and the instrumentation. There's some jazzy stuff in here.
Oh, dude, there's a song. There's a song. It's the last song in the album, The Ills.
Oh, I love that one,
dude. It's just like a jazzy piano tune with him rapping over it, and it's fucking rad. And I love it.
Maybe next album reviews I'll do Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this reminded me of that, and it felt like with his rap, because he doesn't mumble rap, and every word you hear, even if you don't actively listen to it, you know when you listen to a song, you can understand what they're saying, but you're not actively listening, so it's still background. Yeah. Even when you're just listening to this album in that manner, where it's you're doing something else, it's background.
You're not paying attention to the words necessarily.
You can still understand what he's saying. Yeah. And everything's precise. And I really appreciate that, because that's one of the things that kind of threw me off with more modern rap and hip hop because a lot of the times I have no idea what they're saying, just mumble rap, or it's just a lot of autotune and I hate it. But this doesn't do that. And I really here's a couple tracks that really shot out to me.
Yeah.
We have X-Wing.
Which
is one of his biggest tracks, and that's where you get a lot of nerdy references. Obviously,
that was a great one,
but very great track. John Wayne.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, here's another thing I'll say because John Wayne has to do with it. A lot of rap artists I've heard recently, even so, Denzel Curry he's very fast.
Oh yeah,
in his style, and that is a style of rapping, and
but you can still,
but he understands because
very well.
Yeah, well he understands. It seems that like fast rapping like that because a lot of newer artists don't necessarily put a lot of effort into this. He understands
it ends up
that
becoming mumble rap.
Just because you're fast rap, well, not that, but not about pronunciation and things like that, but like the content of what you're saying is he understands that what you're saying in the rap matters.
Yeah.
It matters. And John Wayne is one where it's, walking through the neighborhood like I'm John Wayne. Like this, he has multiple times throughout this album where he's touching on like, what's this?
Good track.
I don't remember what the song's called. But there's quite a few songs in it where it's like he is touching on social issues in his rap. Even and he's doing that on top of doing this fast rap style. Like he recognizes that you shouldn't have just like filler crap in there, And I really liked that. I thought that was really good.
Like here's something I was reading over just through the Wikipedia, and I agree with this. It has sick. So wait, where is it? Beats per minute. Enjoyed the album. Say, melt my eyes, see your future. It's profound exploration of the state of the world and Curry himself. He works with a diverse set of producers and collaborators to transform his sound, incorporates aesthetics of westerns and samurai films that inspire them to disclose his inner feelings. And this other guy says, this guy from Hip Hop DX, Ben Bertruccio or whatever, he says, it's not an ambitious but heavy-handed declaration of truth, nor is it an all-encompassing love letter to his home state. It's just a rap album. A very good rap album. It shows how dynamic and forceful Denzel Curry can be when he's released himself from Poisonous Birding of perfection. And that's why I like it. It's a rap album. That's just good.
Yeah. It's
not trying to be over intellectual. It's
at the end of the day, it's just like it's musically good. The content of the lyrics are good. Honestly.
I'm like some of these samples or the backing tracks.
I mean, it's
I could just listen to that.
It's a combination of like lo-fi beats.
Yeah, there's some lo-fi.
And then like orchestra stuff. Like there's a song towards the end of the album where he has like a string orchestra doing like this like I don't remember what the tune is, but it's like what you would imagine of like when a villain enters in a movie type of thing. Mm-hmm. An old like Universal black and white film.
This whole album has just a cool vibe to it.
Just
cool and lo-fi, and this isn't to discredit it, but it sounds like something you would hear in like, oh, good beats to study to or whatever with that one girl in it.
Yeah, but except where those things are pretty mindless. This thing actually, it's one of those albums that hits that perfect space of like, it's still good to have it on in the background if you're not paying attention. But if you are paying attention,
it's even better.
There's a lot to take in there, and it's rewarding.
And like just listen, because some people I encounter think I just don't like rap, or because I don't listen to a lot of new rap and hip hop. But I do. I'm just very picky.
My thing with rap is just that when it's on, if it's good rap, I do enjoy it. It's not that I'm like really that picky. It's just it's not a genre. It's not a genre that I lean towards on a regular basis.
A lot of modern rap nowadays, to me, seems very mindless and just we're saying words. But this one,
whereas you take old school rap. If you were to ask me to put on a rap thing, I'd probably look up like a 90s rap playlist where it's Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac and guys like that. Where it's
old school stuff because he was actually rapping and it had interesting back instrumentals.
Well, it reminds of old school stuff. Well, in I don't remember what song it is. It's towards the end of the album. Maybe it's the Ills. He references like Notorious B.I.G. and stuff like that, and all these other artists. And it's not just that it's reminiscent of old school rap.
There's a little Beastie Boys kind of stuff in there. Funny, nerdy references. And
it's reminiscent of this stuff that's like I'm nostalgic for. Yeah. But then at the same time, with the lo-fi beats and things like that, it still feels modern.
I'll tell you, it doesn't feel obnoxious.
Yeah.
A lot of rap, to me at least, feels obnoxious.
Yeah.
This isn't. This is just really cool. It's pleasing to listen to. I like the wordplay. There's good rhymes, good flow in there. But also just like, as a musician, I appreciate that the instrumentals aren't just a basic backing track, but that
they actually put effort into the instrumentals. They put effort into the whole thing. Just screams, "We gave a crap."
Have you tried the cookie porter?
I haven't.
There's one more. There's one more left. You should try it.
Thank you. I hope that was a good crack. We don't have our headphones.
I don't know. It sounded like a good one in real life.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That's better than the peanut butter one.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah, I like that.
Fair enough.
But either way, no. The entire album it just screams like we gave a crap about the entire thing. Where a lot of modern rap where it's like
it didn't feel overly produced.
A lot of modern rap artists are just like put down a backing track and let's rap. And maybe they put effort into the rap, but they don't put effort into the backing track.
No, they put effort into everything here.
Yeah, every single song seems very intentional.
That's how
and very
modern rap album should sound.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
It's really, I mean...
And I'm not going to lie. Like I said, I like old school stuff, but a lot of modern rap, I just could not care less. Yeah. When you sent me this, I was like, okay, a new rap album. I'll listen to it for Colton and for the episode, but I don't know if I'm going to really like it and everything.
Yeah.
But as soon as I started listening to it, I was like, wow, this is hitting every single... note in my book because like
he's talented. It's just a talented guy with a bunch of talented other.
It's reminiscent of some old school stuff. There's interesting backing tracks, very interesting raps, and it's just I enjoyed listening to it.
He just strikes me as a talented guy who gives a shit about making about making good music.
Yeah, definitely.
Like and at the end of the day, if you're talented and you give a shit about making good music, you're going to make some good stuff.
Yeah, and if your producers or manager allow you.
Yeah. I don't know this for sure. I'd have to look this up. I think this is independent. I read
It was released through PH and Lama Vista Recordings.
Okay, yeah. There's a lot of stuff online about him being mostly independent. So maybe the album itself is not like an independent like release, like he's not a publisher. But like there's a lot of stuff I've read online about Denzel Curry like remaining as an independent artist.
It feels that way.
Like he's not getting tied in with a recording with a studio or something like that. The other thing, I mean, this is something that threw me off. You know, there's always been a bad rap for like the SoundCloud rappers. He's one of them.
No, there's
like
good
no, like
rappers
like
out
legit.
there.
He is one of them. Like
Yeah,
that. Like
that's
he
what
is
he
of that era, of that genre, of the SoundCloud rappers, and he broke out and got big and is really good.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's like rap is. It's not something I listen to very regularly. Sometimes I'll put on a 90s hip hop playlist.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes, and I do like it. It's one of those genres of music where if someone else were to put it on,
Hey, there was a period of my life in junior year where all I was listening to was Tribe Called Quest, Notorious B.I.G., and Beastie Boys.
I mean, all really good.
So...
Those are out of all the hip hop artists. Those are some that I will listen to. Really great. But I mean, Denzel Curry is. I mean, just in general, hip hop.
27 years
It's
old,
not something I listen to on a regular basis.
Especially modern stuff.
Occasionally, I put on like a 90s playlist.
Lizzo. I listen to a lot of Lizzo sometimes.
Lizzo's pretty decent.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's not that I don't like this genre. It's more like it's not in my thing.
It's not in your wheelhouse.
I'm not thinking about it on a regular basis. So I'm not paying attention to new stuff. So it was just a lot
of people know me as like the guy with the jazz influences on guitar and everything. Mm-hmm. But I'm not listening to jazz all the time.
Yeah. Well,
it's one of those genres that I love and I really appreciate, but you're not going to hear me listening to it all the time because I'm,
to be honest,
picky. I'm very picky with certain genres.
Yeah, to be honest, like really. I would have never come across Denzel Curry if it weren't for NPR Tiny Desk concerts, because I follow the NPR music on Facebook and stuff, and I follow them because they have a lot of like folk and bluegrass bands play. So it's weird. Like I follow this page on Facebook where I follow it because I like folk and bluegrass stuff.
Yeah, and then
they have Denzel Curry come on, and I'm like, holy shit! And I just saw the video, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy's good.
Yeah,
like
seriously.
So I went and looked him up and found this album. This was like 6 months ago. It was like right when this album was brand new.
I always keep my ears open, Whenever I hear just music being played out and about, or if it's recommended to me, or if it's in the YouTube algorithm, or it's in Facebook, or whatever, I keep my ears open for stuff that interests me. If it interests me, I find out, okay, who did that? What album is that from? Where I can find it.
Yeah.
And I search it, and I'm like, oh, maybe it was a one-hit wonder type thing, and everything else sucks. Okay, fair enough. At least I like that song. But sometimes it's like, oh, this guy or girl or person is really talented.
Yeah, and that's what's happened here. Is I saw a Tiny Desk concert, and 30 seconds into the first song, 30 seconds of the first song he played that they played, I was immediately like, I like this guy. This guy is good.
I want to find out more. I always learned by ear, and by listening. And when I hear something that catches my attention, I'm like, well, I gotta investigate. And usually it doesn't fail.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and
Denzel Curry,
I mean, he's just so talented, and the entire album. I'll just to sum it up. I'll just say, not only is him and all the other people involved really talented musicians, but the entire album screams they gave a crap, because
this album just has an aesthetic to it.
It has an aesthetic, and at the end of the day, it's just a lot of hip hop. I listen to the modern hip hop. It's just like they don't give a crap.
It's just like whatever, give me money.
And at the very least, like I remember there was a guy years ago at an open mic that we used to go to, Steaming Beam, and he would go and he would rap. I knew a guy.
I think I remember that guy.
I worked with him, actually. He was my coworker.
Oh, really?
And he would rap. And he wasn't that great. But it was still fun because he really was trying. He really cared and was trying to be good. He was trying to make good music. And he would go up there, and him and another guy would play guitar, and the guy would play guitar and play a beat on guitar, and he would just rap over it. And I remember enjoying it.
Playing for him one time. I'm pretty sure I played for him.
It was that guy. Yeah, I think it was the same guy. And I remember he wasn't like
some guitar.
He wasn't like the most amazing. Yeah, it's the guy you're thinking of.
Yeah.
And he wasn't like the most amazing artist ever. He wasn't the most amazing rapper or anything like that. But he actually gave a shit.
That's what I like.
So I had a good time sitting there watching him play because I was like, he's giving off the vibes of he cares.
Rap aside.
So I am enjoying it. And at the end of the day, Denzel Curry gives off the vibes of he gives a shit.
Any genre, if you do something interesting and you show that you actually care and you're passionate about your music and about your art,
you're
gonna have me interested. Even if it's not the best thing I've ever heard, if there's something unique about it and if there's real heart to it, you're gonna get my attention.
And that's my biggest compliment I can give to Denzel Curry is he seems like he has a lot of heart in it.
No, definitely.
He also, I think, is extremely talented, and that helps.
Yes.
but the biggest thing is that he has a lot of heart in there.
Yes.
And I you can feel it in the album, and I really love it, and it's fantastic.
Definitely. We haven't had any tangent points this episode.
We haven't.
I just want to say
wow.
When we talk about music, we usually stay on point.
Should we have a rule if we have no tangent points, we have to take a shot anyway?
Nah. I think we're good because trust me, there's plenty of episodes where we have plenty of tangent points. And you know what? I'm happy not to have it.
The tangent point system is just meant to keep us on track.
My new system, new system does keep it.
It does help.
It helps a little bit.
Yeah, it's just meant to keep us on track. The point is not that that going on tangents is bad. It's that a lot of tangents is bad.
Yeah,
that's the point.
But anyways, I think we're done. We pretty much said what we got to say.
Yeah. All of the links to these albums will be in the description.
Yeah, just to remind you, we have Labi Siffre with "Remember My Song" in 1975.
They will be Spotify links because that's the easiest.
Yeah, we'll
for
throw
most
that in there,
for most people.
Either way, you can just type it in and look it up.
But we'll have the title and everything.
Yeah, and we have the Bad Brains, and then we have Vivid by Living Color, and then we have Denzel Curry with Melt My Eyes, See Your Future.
Yeah,
nice.
It's a weird album
2022.
Name. I don't know why they called it that, but whatever.
But yeah, next time we do album reviews, I'll be sure to bring one that's a new one and an old one because that's the usual formula. But I just really wanted to talk about these albums.
Yeah.
And give them a spotlight. And look out, Colton, look out for some new albums that you think are maybe underrated.
I will, yeah.
Because a lot of times our underrated one will be the old one, but sometimes there's some new ones out there. You know?
I think, we
And next episode, we definitely have something fun planned for you. I won't spoil much. And we got some creepy, weird stuff coming up. Don't worry about that. How many hints should I give?
I love the creepy, weird stuff.
Yeah, plenty of creepy, weird stuff. And I think before we end this episode, let's talk about something.
Okay.
Our goals for this year.
Okay.
For the new year.
Yeah.
The main thing, my primary goal with this podcast this year is try to do as many new things as possible while staying true to what the podcast does.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And
I think here's what I'll throw out. I think having more guests on the podcast would be cool.
Yeah, last year we did pretty good with guests.
We did a pretty good job.
I think to have Chris back on.
Yeah, Chris, if you're listening, Chris.
Yeah,
we'd love to. Let's make it happen. I know you got your schedule and you're a busy guy, but we'll make it happen.
But yeah, I'll be talking to people. We'll try to get more guests. Maybe some other podcasters on here.
That would be amazing. That would be awesome.
We could cross promote and all that. I'm fine with that. Hey, help each other out. But yeah, we're gonna try to keep things fresh. Try to keep the episode ideas fresh. I got some new ideas brewing. Colton's got some ideas he's been telling me about for a while now that we still got to figure out.
We have a long list of ideas.
Yeah.
We finally, after 2 years, made a shared Google Doc.
Yeah, we finally did that. Oh, you added to it?
I haven't added to it, but I added it to my Google Drive.
Well, you
thing.
should start adding to it.
More than 2 years. After 2.5 years,
we have a Google Docs.
We have a Google Docs where we can share episode ideas.
Usually the way it goes, we figure out the episode, the current episode, and then we're like, what are we gonna do next week? We gotta figure something out.
Spoilers.
Anyways, I appreciate everyone listening right now. I appreciate that everyone has downloaded. And,
we've had some really good viewership recently.
We have actually. Yeah. And I appreciate everyone that follow us at Odd Pod at Instagram. And you can check out our Facebook page, the Odd Pod Squad. And what's another thing we have?
I think that's it.
That's our main social media platforms, but we also have. If you listen to us on Audible, be sure to download or tell your friends. Hey, the Odd Podcast is on Audible because we are.
We are on Audible.
We're on a lot of things.
Here's what I'll say. I say this every once in a while, but we've never had anyone take us up on it. If you have an idea for an episode, a topic we should cover,
trust me, we need help.
Let us know. Yeah. Message us. Shoot us a message. Say, hey, I want you to do an episode about this.
And if you have a problem with us,
and if it's not an inappropriate topic, we probably will, because
what's an inappropriate topic on here?
Sex and racism and shit like that.
Yeah. And
murders.
Yeah, and
but if you have an idea for a topic,
true crime,
and you want us to do it, message us, please. Like really, actually,
yes, no, definitely,
actually do it, because
Colton,
I say this. I've been saying this for like 2 years now, of saying every once in a while I say, hey, let us know if you have a topic, and no one ever has.
I get some, but it's a lot of spam. Shout out to Jason Halfcoat, though. He's always sending me good stuff.
Captain Halfcoat.
Yeah. But anyways, and shout out to Chris McMahon. I'd love to record
McMahon.
McMahon, yeah.
McMahon.
McMahon, yeah.
That's the American way of saying it.
That's the American vernacular.
He's causing such mayhem.
He's causing mayhem.
Yeah.
With all his memes out there. But, I also want to say nothing. Actually, I have nothing to say. I don't want to keep blowing up this episode with unnecessary tangents. In fact,
don't worry. We're
do we have a tangent point yet?
We don't. Or are we okay? I mean, unless you want to count this, but it'll start over next episode, so it doesn't matter.
Does anything matter?
Let's not get into that. Let's leave that for another episode.
Maybe in the next couple of weeks we'll do a philosophy episode.
Ooh, maybe we'll get really stoned.
We'll talk about just the big topics. What is life? Does anything matter? Are we in a civilization? What about the multiverse? What about just anything, and that would be the one we get high.
Yeah,
we wouldn't drink in that one. We would get high. Episode 420, maybe one day.
That'd be good. That would be good.
Oh God, I don't want to think about that. But anyways, we'll see you next week for a very special episode. I'm sure you're gonna love it. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Be sure to follow us at Drunk Pod and give us a download. Give us a rating, a review if you like us.
It's been a while since we've had a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, I've had threats of bad reviews from the scam artists, And we definitely have a scammer episode planned out later in the future.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be fun.
That'll be fun.
But yeah, anyways, we hope you all stay safe. Have a great day or evening or morning or whenever you're listening to this. And listen to our our robotic friend at the end about not to drink and drive because that's dumb. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do illegal stuff.
Yeah, we don't condone any illegal stuff here.
Yeah. Drink in the safety of your own home.
Yes. That way you can drink.
Or at a bar if you have to. If you're just walking home.
Yeah, and we do that.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll see you next week. Keep it real. I'll Drink Podcast out.
This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. The Odd Drunk Podcast recommends you follow their Instagram and join their Facebook group for more fun content. To visit all of our current streaming and social media platforms, visit the link tree in the description. If you enjoy the show, we would be appreciated it if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts. The Odd Drunk Podcast would like to remind you to drink responsibly and not to drink and drive. Okay, Colton, you can roll the outro now.